Welcome to Hot, Hip, and Now. Intriguing, inspirational, and innovative people and stories coming out of Israel. I'm your host, Elyssa Frank. I'm going to bring you all the now. I'll be focusing on the arts, fashion, and all things extreme, so Israeli. Just weeks after finishing her first Ironman competition and still riding her high. In awe and much respect, I'd like to introduce you to Israel's Ironman, Cid Carver, originally from Cleveland and now officially an American Israeli. Hi, Sid.
Hey, Elyssa, how's it going?
I'm just blown away by your accomplishment. So the first question out is, were you athletic? Did you grow up as a sporty girl?
I was always a tomboy. Played soccer, started riding horses, and did a little cross-country running in university.
Did you compete?
I did compete in show jumping.
Okay, so that's pretty major. All right, so let's move you forward. How'd you get to Israel?
After graduating university in 2011, I didn't have a job like most college kids and came on Taglit for 10 days.
Okay.
Thought I would go teach English in Barcelona, use this as my catalyst to get there. And was here for 10 days, and just day after day, I started to feel something amazing, didn't know what it was.
And then
day 10, I emailed my dad and was like, hey, there's this thing called aliyah. I'm gonna live in Israel forever. Can you send me some paperwork? And he was like, just get a job and be happy. And I was like, okay.
Great. So then you make aliyah, and all of a sudden you find yourself in Tel Aviv.
Well, yeah.
Okay. And it's not so easy, so what happened?
Well, I made aliyah from inside Israel. So I lived in a hostel for 2 months in South Florentine.
Right.
And I spent 2 months in a country that I knew nothing about, had no connections, didn't know a single person here, figuring out everything for the first time.
So did you go around the city? Did you go running? How did you find the city?
So in the process of trying to make aliyah and living in the hostel and not having any friends and not having anything to do, I slowly was like, I'll run.
Okay.
Sababa.
So you became the Forrest Gump of Tel Aviv, pretty much. So you ran and you ran.
I ran a little bit and a little bit more and a little bit more, and then I made a friend and and then signed up for the Tel Aviv half marathon and then started training for that and then made a few more friends and it was just.
So you just did an increment. So you started to race. You went from
half marathon, started to do it, and it became part of my life, and it slowly started to grow, and I started to do triathlon. Today, after doing Ironman, a typical day could be anything from a bike or a swim in the morning, and then I work, and then I might go back to the pool, or I might run, and thankfully my company, we run once a week as an office. We have yoga at the office too.
What is it? So what is your company? What do you do?
So I had been working in startups, and then my passion for sports grew, and I decided, I do marketing, and I said,
so what is it that your business does? Yeah, what does your business do now?
So now I work in a high-tech wearable fitness startup, and we have cycling helmets and running hats that track heart rate and calories.
So you probably wore it during your Ironman.
I used our helmet.
Wow, okay. Yeah. So all your sports really helped you in integrating yourself into the community, would you say?
Exactly. So
it's a social.
Exactly. So I came here, and a lot of people come and they might already have a job, or they might have family, or they do university, or you do the army. And I came, I had nothing.
Wow.
And so and I
like
didn't know
myself, by the way. We're together in that.
Yeah, you try to figure it out, and I didn't know at the time that this would be my thing.
Right.
That would connect me to the Israeli society. But now today, most of my friends are cyclists or triathletes or
and
swimmers.
They're Israelis, which is great,
Israelis,
which is really
so
great.
This has been my thing to really okay, yeah, this is where I belong.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so when did you decide Ironman? Let's get there, because this is the exciting part. I mean, this is crazy. First of all, I want you to explain what exactly is the Ironman, how much you did a distance of cumulative. What was the distance?
Sure. So an Ironman is 140.6 miles or 226 kilometers total.
Okay.
It starts with a swim of 3.8 kilometers or 2.4 miles.
Okay.
It's a bike of 112 miles or 180 kilometers. And then it's a run of 26 miles and then 42. Wow. That's how it ends. Yeah, so that's what an Ironman is.
That's just you just wowed me out of the ballpark here. Okay. How did it come about? When did this start?
So, I always take it back to that first half marathon. I really think that was the trigger that kind of got me hooked, finishing.
Okay.
I had this high and I was like, oh my God, sports is my thing.
But when did you decide Ironman?
Right, so then did 2 half Ironman, and it was after my second half Ironman that I started thinking about it.
Okay.
And then last summer in 2014, during everything that was going on with the war and the rockets, I, just sort of the nail hit the coffin. I was like, I'm doing it, that's what I'm doing. Like, that's my mission for the next year.
Okay. So during the war, you decided to, because you have to apply a year before, right?
You have to sign up a year in advance.
So in the middle of a war, you had decided you were going to start training, and we have something called Shetach Patuch, which is open spaces. So you were running, you were biking, with the chances of a siren going off. You were swimming. Did you ever hear a siren in all your training?
In the swimming pool, yeah.
Yeah, not pleasant. Wow. Wow. That's amazing. Wow. So tell me, you do your training and you get to Lake Placid. Now, for us as Americans, because that's what we are, this was the place of the Olympics.
Yep, it
right?
was.
So this was wild.
And this was my first race in America, but as an Israeli.
Okay, amazing.
So, it was a really special place to come to as well, especially being Israeli there.
Right.
I got there, and it's interesting. The first thing that happened was I was homesick for Israel, because I'd only raced in Israel. I'd only raced with Israelis.
Right,
and
this
so
was you decided to do a competition.
Abroad.
In America, you decided to take your first competition in America. That's
Right.
great, that's fabulous.
And I got there, and it was just fun from start to finish. There's no other way to explain it.
Did people talk to you about, are you like that you're Israeli? Did you talk to anybody along the pathway?
For sure. Definitely talked to a lot of people along the way. And tried to make some friends, but a lot of people, it's not like Israel. They're like, kol hakavod, batzlacha, yalla. And
Which
like,
is, go for it, in all
do
respect,
it, you've got it,
and
yeah,
keep
exactly.
going. Right.
And then, there, the Americans, it was a little bit, they're like, hi, yep, that's nice, okay. And I'm like, I want to be your friend.
Okay.
So, but it was okay.
And tell me, once you finish this race, how does it go? How'd you feel?
Yeah, so it was, it actually took about 2 weeks for it to settle in for me. I finished and I was like, cool, I did it. All right, I got to get my bags. I got to find my dad. I got to get back. I got to pack. I got to do things.
Right. So you really didn't even enjoy the high afterwards.
Yeah, it hit me once I got back to Israel, and once I was back here, and I was like, wow. That's when it really. So it took about a week to really.
Yeah, I remember I was speaking to you the whole time during it. It was pretty amazing. And I want to ask you something else that we've talked about it, so I'm going to just kind of bring it out there. Is that, doing sports helps depression, and you have a story of your own regarding depression and dealing with the sport. Do you want to share a little bit about this?
Sure. So, I personally had my ups and downs and everything else, and I didn't realize it until probably my second half Ironman that I was like, oh, this is the thing that's keeping me happy and regularly happy and keeping me motivated and giving positive energy. And it's something that I'm very aware of and, close to my heart, especially. My mom died. She committed suicide and dealt with depression.
Sorry.
And so it's, something to be aware of, and it's something that people don't talk about. But sports is something that gives you community, it gives you friends, it brings you together, it has teamwork, it gives you motivation to keep going forward as well. And so it's a really big part of my life as well, and it's something that can do so much good outside of just competition and I finish, but it's not about the race, but it's about the journey to get there. So I really think about the year before the Ironman.
Right, it's sort of, I forgot who this quote is by, but it's really about your process and not about the results. Is it Machiavelli? I think it was. You have another little special souvenir. Do you want to share it with us?
I do. So Ironman, there's a tradition in Ironman that as soon as you finish, you get the Ironman logo tattooed on your body.
The branding. This
It's
is
the
what I
brand.
called it.
Because it's like
it's like hardcore.
That's
well,
what you
here,
get.
this is your
is
race
the shirt,
shirt
yeah.
and
So-
your socks you wore. This is the whole stuff and the food you ate.
This is typically what people get tattooed on them. And because,
Wow.
we talk about the journey and it's our journey, I got 226 kilometers tattooed on me.
Wow.
With a semicolon after.
And the semicolon is?
2 parts. The Ironman happened to be the 6-year anniversary of my mom's passing. And so it was a very, symbolic race in many ways. And semicolon is when an author in a story has the choice to put a period and end that story, or they can put a semicolon and they have more to say. And so I put this saying, in commemoration of mental health awareness, but also that this isn't just the end of my story, but that the Ironman is the beginning of what is to come.
What is to come. Wow.
Yeah.
Sid, kol hakavod, with much
thank you.
respect. Your story has been blowing me away. I keep sharing it everywhere I go. I'm just
Well, you know, we have to go for a swim now.
Yeah, we are, because I'm an avid swimmer, so, but I don't even, I'm scared to even swim with you. But I want to thank you. I want to just thank you for representing Israel. How cool is that?
Yeah, that was the
That's
best. Wow.
amazing.
I can't
Cid
even
Carver from Tel Aviv, Israel. So wow, thank you with all my heart and with all my respect.
Thank you.
I love your story. With that, it's a perfect way to conclude. I want you to join us again soon on Hot, Hip, and Now. And we'd love to hear from you. Your feedback matters. Thank you for joining us.